technology. I am actually live streaming to YouTube at the same time that I'm doing this Zoom so that I can repurpose this video for my communities as well as share things live. So anyone that has ever interacted with me knows that I just want to be able to do things in an effective way. Use technology. And not only that, to be able to share things with people that matter. And so what I'm doing right now as we're talking is of a tool that will help you. And usually people have a team to help them do this, right? So I could be talking to you and then someone else would be doing this work. Now, one of the things that I've recently changed in the business with legislation that's changed in California has been to really think a little bit differently about how I am communicating, not only with content, but also with message and with the different ways that I can get people out there. So I'm going to now reshare this feed on Facebook. And again, if you have to do this stuff yourself, it can feel super cumbersome or it's not perfect. And the first time you do it, it's never going to feel right. But you'll develop a rhythm and it'll come to you over time. So again, today we're going to talk a little bit about tools that I love using. And the specific tool that I love using is called Brand Yourself. Now, Brand Yourself is a really cool tool because what ends up happening with Brand Yourself is that you can really set yourself up for success because we know that people will essentially look you up. And if you're a solopreneur or you're a coach and you really want people to find you, or you have a unique name, or you have a name that's super generic, people are going to look you up and they want to find out who you are. So how do you set yourself up? So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about from an agnostic kind of perspective. So as I go into this, I'm going to share the screen and here we are. So you will now see my messy desktop. So when someone goes to research you or your brand, the first thing that you should be doing, not to shit on you a lot, is really to look at, hey, what's out there? So I was going to go to Google and I wanted to see what someone was looking up. I am using incognito mode in Google. And so very simply, I'm going to type in my name. And what will come up is essentially kind of what Google sees about me. So what you'll see is there's X amount of results. You'll see the LinkedIn here. Typically LinkedIn is going to be the first one that comes up. So again, if you are John Smith, you might want to be John R. Smith or use your middle initial, etc. It's usually going to be your LinkedIn profile, videos that are related. So it looks like my TED Talks and some of our Forbes talks. And then it's going to be pretty much, you'll notice, right? Everything that subsequently is loading here is pretty much me, right? Keynotes, programs, different things that I've done, working with my partners, different things from Forbes, some of the things that I've done back and forth, right? There's a ton of stuff that's here. Now, if I go up and I look at the news section, anything that I've been cited or that I've worked on, right, is going to show up here. We've got awards, we've got all kinds of group contributed articles. And then what's really interesting is people constantly look at images. So what you'll see here is a really clear representation of, here's my name, here are the words that are associated with my name. Now, why is this important? Because a lot of times when you meet someone, you just want to get a sense of them in like a minute. So you can do this in about a minute where you're going through and tapping through. And I would ask you to take a moment to Google your name. See what comes up. Go through all of these tabs. What you'll note is that the first few images are me, and then suddenly what happens is partners and people that I work with now start to come up. So this is Veepal, for example. We look at Illumide. He's got a global business podcast. One of my clients, Greg, some keynotes that I've done at different associations, etc. And related things start to appear. So as we start to look at that, you can see, right? TED speaker, Amazon, People Maven, TEDx, LinkedIn, Illuminating. It's a conference, San Diego, cat herder. So those are the things that are associated. And then if I click the videos, it's very simple. Here's the videos of me. So if you want to get an idea of how I speak or how I teach or whatever, that's there. Now, what you'll notice is that when you try to do this Google search again, and because it doesn't have any of my history, if I just do a search for my business name, and I really want to get an idea of what's going out there, right? What we'll do is we'll look at it and it's going to pull in my business name, my profile. Here's the reviews of the business. Here's some products that we have for the business. Here's my star rating. Now you'll notice that that rating also mirrors, okay, over here in the Google My Business page. You're able to see recent events that we've got. You're able to see all these different profiles. And again, now you start to see what's associated with the brand. So you're not, what ends up happening as you start looking at this and you go, okay, this makes sense. Oh, look at the images that are associated with this brand. So these are more brand specific, right? My first logo was a picture I'd taken, and like you get to see the evolution of kind of your brand, but you also get a really clear pulse of, can people learn enough about me online, right? And the sense is that probably, yeah, you can kind of see bits and pieces. You have an understanding of how it relates to the brand. So here's how you actually stack the deck to do this in a way that will allow you to not only understand what's out there about yourself, but to kind of say like, hey, do I like what I'm saying out here, or do I need to make some strategic changes? So the tool that I love using is called Brand Yourself. And the reason I love Brand Yourself is because it's very simple. So I'm logged in here. I had seen Brand Yourself, I want to say like it was a Shark Tank program. And so a couple of things that it's going to do for you. There's a lot that it can do. It can look at breaches, expose private income. I mean, there's a number of things that this tool can do, and you can look at that. But really for our purposes today, one of the things that some of you may need to look at is if you are working in a very particular niche or industry and you need to have kind of a level up in terms of vernacular and conversation, you might need to look at your social media and see, hey, am I saying things that are offensive or disrespectful? Does that work with the audience that I'm trying to reach? So people that work with me typically know I'm a little flippant. I'm not Gary V per se, right? I don't get up and I don't do F-bombs on a stage, never. I feel like if I need profanity to get it out, then I'm not going to say it. However, if you do need to have that extra awareness, what this will do is look at your unprofessional language and posts. And essentially, like, you can tell, basically it'll give you some options where you can actually delete it. It'll tell you like what the impact is to it and how it could be seen. It's very specific, right, on the categories. So, luckily for me, I guess no bigotry is coming up, but definitely profanity, definitely, I don't know, polarizing, right? And then there's definitely things. Yeah, I mean, I think this was a very clear moment that I had a breakdown as a mom, and I was just like, as a mom and working in the working world, I'm not going to erase it because I think it's true, and it was flagged as risky. Now, where this would make sense, for example, is if you were selling into a specific demographic that maybe it's faith-based, or maybe it's politically, you're one way politically in private, but then in public it's another way. Once it's out there on the internet, you really can clean up what's there, but once it's out there, it's out there. So it just gives you an awareness of what you're seeing. Now, the Google results, which is basically how I manage and submit links, is really just, it tells you very clearly, here's an overview of your search results. There's definitely things that you can do to go above and beyond, right? And I've made sure that I've got positive mentions here, that they're positive all there. But what it does do is it tells you, here's your positive mentions. Here's me. And it's going to tell you, hey, your LinkedIn has just been #1 over time. Most people will find that to be true. The second thing it's going to tell you is as you start seeing different links, you have opportunities to optimize those links. And you say, well, what happens? Well, you put in your name and it starts surfing the internet and it says, hey, is this you? And you just decide yes or no. Now, if you've decided it's you, then what it'll do is you can follow the steps to optimize it. So again, it's pretty simple from a user perspective to get up and running with something like this very quickly. I will caution you though. Oh, perfect. So I have a profile on this. It's telling me that I haven't submitted it. So I'll go ahead and submit it there. So it's basically just crawling the internet. They use and leverage a ton of different technology. And again, if you have a profile that you notice is not there, you can actually submit that link. So that's pretty cool as well, because most people like, so for example, I think I already have this one up there, so it's going to tell me I already submitted it. So again, what that allows you to do is to manage what those results are, specific as it relates to your name, and people will essentially be able to showcase and look at what you do. Now, if I had negative results here, I could also label a result negative, and then they have a team that works on your online presence for you that can kind of give you strategies around that. And then it looks like everything that I have has been labeled. And again, this is like the first 3-4 pages of Google. So when we did that search, what you found, right, was everything that was related to that. Oh, there's something here. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. Oh, I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. So this is kind of my daily kind of like, 5 to 10 minute check-in on my reputation, where I just look in and I go, okay, cool, cool, cool. I'm here. And then I can see how these things are performing over time. Like I know that my, it's going to tell me, hey, your website's missing, or hey, these are different things that you can be on to help kind of boost your online presence. And then the last thing is when we look at the brand, it's going to tell me what I need to do. It's going to tell me what things I should look at, right? Like, hey, do you want to clean up some of those posts with profanities? I'm going to let it go because I'm not perfect, nor do I pretend to be. And then in your brand yourself profile, it is going to give you an opportunity to build that up a little bit. And I have the basics, but they do a pretty good job. Basically, it creates a website that's optimized here for you. And it's just your profile of what you are, who you do. And then you can submit all of the links that you do in one section and link to all of these properties. So everything that I've got is submitted there. So if you do, theoretically, fingers crossed here, because my internet is a little crazy, it'll tell you, hey, this is Marissa, this is what she does. And then it's basically taken all of those links and mined it. So even if you don't have a huge, budget for social media, or if you're a coach that's starting out, or you're a consultant and you really want to figure out what's out there, that's one thing you can do to build your brand. And then the reputation report here is basically telling you, here's where you fit, and it's telling you, hey, you might want to look at those results, and it'll break down kind of where I fall, right? Flagged posts, I got 200 posts that have a bad word in them, right? So 200 in the course of 6 years, I'm okay with that. And people that know and have met me, I'm not offensive on stage, and I make it a point to never, use profanity. But then again, there's different things that you can do, and there's impact levels. So the reason I like to share this type of stuff with people is because we often make excuses about the things that we're not doing, or we're building curriculum and we're doing all this stuff. And we forget that the ultimate source of revenue and income really comes from brand awareness of your name and your company. You have a brand that's in a room long before you enter it and long after you leave it. And each of us has met or interacted with people that has a particular brand, right? Some people are very transactional. So you'll go to a networking event, they give out 100 cards. Well, I'm pretty strategic about what I do. And although I appreciate trading business cards with people, I know that the majority of people that I meet, I may give free advice to, or I may help, but I know that they won't be a client, because when push comes to shove, they're not going to put the dollars down. So I don't give my business card to everybody. As a matter of fact, I'm happy to take people's cards, but I think of it this way. If you're a realtor and you go to a networking event and you hand out 50 to 100 cards, do you really believe that those people are going to partner with you for the long term? Maybe if they're title, maybe if they're in other aspects. But part of this is expanding your network intentionally, making sure that you show up digitally so that someone ahead of time goes, hey, I saw your article that you did on LinkedIn, or hey, I saw that post that you did. I was on a flight a couple months ago headed to Miami, and there was a realtor from Compass Real Estate in San Diego, and he was headed over there, and I did not know his name, but I remember seeing his posts for a luxury property that are in San Diego. So that's how branding works. So my hope is that I've given you at least one tool that you can use right now. There's a free version that's pretty expansive, or there's a paid version. I don't get a referral link. There's no affiliate income or anything like that. This is a tool that I've used since the beginning. I continue to use. I continue to recommend it to my executives, my entrepreneurs, athletes, anyone that needs to have good Googleability. And that's a key to income and building your brand. So that's all I've got for you this morning. It is a beautiful day in San Diego, and I am headed to Las Vegas for a conference. I'm excited. I always love to learn from people, whether or not I like the way that they deliver content or who they are, or what they say. I think you can learn and choose to learn from anything. So I'm headed out to Vegas for a really awesome learning experience, and I hope all of you have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.